Hello everybody, my name is AJ and welcome to the Road to 1200 series. Something I'm going to start, getting into December, a new ranked season, something that I wanted to take a look at, something that I wanted to work on grinding for. I've made Mythic a few times, but honestly once I made Mythic I've stopped playing. Generally I haven't had more than like a week left in the season. I've never grinded it hard enough to hit it early. And so I think what we'll do today is we'll do this series is we say Road to 1200, but we're going to try and peak as high as we possibly can. Whether that's 1200, whether that's 400, whether that's 95%, whether that's rank 1. We're just going to see how high we can go, how far we can climb. So I played VV Cauldron when that was a broken deck. And so I had a decent chunk of the Is It pieces already needed. I had Storm Chaser talent back from way back in the day when I played Esper Bounce. That was a really fun deck. I do miss that. Frostcliff Siege from doing a bunch of Tarkir draft. I had the Winter Night Stories, had the Quantum Riddlers. And so really all I had to craft was the Tiger Seal, the Duelist of the Mind, and the Roaring Furnace. And so this is a pretty stock list for Is It Aggro. I actually have not played this looting deck before, and so I'm interested to see how well it performs, how well I can do with it, being brand new. The only thing is we're running the Thundering Falls instead of the Merciful Soul Passage, so it's really just because I don't have the rare wild cards. Eventually, once I build those up, probably we'll swap those in, but outside of that, this is pretty close to a stock list, and so we're going to go ahead and we'll just hop right into the games. I'll probably be grinding a lot more than I did for the free-to-play to Mythic series. This is, the goal is how well I can do, not how well I can do with the restriction of time. And so going to show you guys the best games. I'm hoping that sometime soon I'll start streaming on YouTube and Twitch. And that can be a little bit more of for those who want to see every game, want to see my thought process for all that. But what I'll try and do is just, record every day, couple hours, get a good chunk of games in, and then show you guys the best ones. So with this super long intro spiel out of the way, let's go ahead and let's hop right into the first game. Okay, here we are getting into our very first game. We are in Bronze 2 or 3 or something like that. I've messed around with some other decks just for fun, but realistically only like 3 or 4 games up. So starting off, this seems like a somewhat reasonable hand to keep. I actually don't know what's amazing here, but I know that we have a turn 2 something. We have FOMO. Looks like we're against the... It does appear... Maybe we want to drop the Verge first. We should have a spot to drop Thundering Falls, but I don't think we need Torch the Tower early against the Azorius artifacts in that land. Yeah, really, this is going to be a lot of learning the deck kind of as we go, but I think the early ranks, kind of bronze, silver, gold, will be good for that. A little bit more room for error just in our play and what we're doing. And so we'll see where we go from here. I think Torch the Tower is just not super useful here. It builds us towards Delirium. Especially against the Azorius artifacts, I mean, the issue is Simulacrum, so it's a synthesizer. Whoa, I can't speak. Not the, it makes creatures, but trading 1 for 1 with the creatures that it makes is a little iffy. So we'll see what we're able to put together here. I think with the Frostcliff Siege, maybe we have something, but more likely we probably just want to do something like drop the Quantum Riddler. We can hold up Torch the Tower if they happen to put something in, but this deck doesn't use too much of that. So kind of just wait and see what they're working with. They got their Cryodron Relic draw. Let's say they can pay life and use the Enigma Jewel for a draw, and it's a good use of their mana there. So probably, our puppies wanting attention, but probably we just drop the Quantum Riddler. I would assume that that's the right choice, although I mean I suppose we could drop the Frostcliff Siege and the next turn Quantum Riddler could actually get in for damage, and that's actually not something I hate at all. That's definitely not something I despise. Let's just get in a little bit more damage, be a little bit more aggressive. and it does give us what I consider a better use of our mana. So we'll drop this and drop Teamer. We'll let FOMO get in for a little bit more damage, and then Quantum Riddler can come in for 2 mana, hit for 4, essentially be the red equivalent of it, whatever I think Nova Kite something that the red decks were using. So I think this is a decent play. Again, there's a lot of learning from it. If you guys have experience and know what is good in this deck, feel free to let me know in the comments below. You know, if I make a huge misplay, if there's any decisions I make that you think are really good or really bad, feel free to let me know. Always looking to improve, always looking to get better. I really do love this game. I think you can never be too good at it. So I think one day really would like to do some MTGO stuff. You know, make some money playing Magic would be like, that'd be the coolest thing ever. But is that a realistic thing? I don't really know. I really like Tiger Seal Quantum Riddler. There actually is a lot of damage here. I think that's probably just the best choices. Get these in, hit for a little bit of damage. We have some pieces we can use next turn. We have the Winter Night Stories. We have Boomerang Basic. So I think we just get in for a lot of damage. We are threatening. We could Boomerang Basics the Quantum Riddler back to the hand, and then that threatens game, which I actually really don't hate the idea of. Yeah, I actually don't hate the idea of getting this back in the hand so we can pay the warp cost again for it, because it's cheaper, and again, we threaten game, and so they need to have interaction for the Tiger Seal, which might slow them down enough, and honestly, we could even potentially just win anyway. So I think this is probably the best way to make our opponent lose this game, as it were. Obviously, you know, if we don't threaten this, maybe they just get in the 2 synthesizers and it's hard for us to return, but it looks like we're probably going to take down this game pretty candidly. You know, out of mana, but we can just slap in the Quantum Riddler for warp, get in for game, and that is a phenomenal first game. Absolutely what we love to see. And I need to go take the dog potty, so we'll see you guys in the next important game. Here we are on the play with... it's an interesting hand. It's potentially a little bit slow, but I think now is the time to just see how fast, how slow can this thing go. I think we'll keep this on top. Don't know what we're playing against. We don't know whether we want the removal or not. We can always send it away with the Winter Night if we really need to. Looks like we might be into the mirror match, and so really what we're worried about is Torch the Tower of their own. And so I don't hate the idea of just dropping the Talent and the Mako and just putting 2 creatures on the board. I mean, if they double Torch the Tower, we always can Boomerang. Well, we actually don't have the double blue for Boomerang Talent. But yeah, with the assumption being they have a Torch, but we're actually able to get Mako in, which is really, really nice. That's the card I would much rather have stick around. It looks like they are I actually don't know what this is called necessarily, but we do actually have a really nice way. We can FOMO away something. We can FOMO away something. Maybe the Boomerang Basics, because we don't have the double blue. And then we can Torch the Tower away their blocker, or Mako's a little bit stronger. And then... yeah, we're probably not bouncing the Talent, but I don't know if the Scry one is actually better or not. I think actually we'll just swing if they block, great. If not, we can Torch the Tower at instant speed. Obviously they could double spell, which would be slightly unfortunate. And so maybe we do want to do this Torch the Tower now, so they can't grow this hero to be huge. But I don't know what exactly the right play is here. I think this is one of those moments of like, there's risk, but there's also risk in playing the Torch right now, having no mana open. And so I think holding up is a little bit better, but I do obviously worry that, you know, they can double non-creature spell and gets out of Torch the Tower range, unfortunately. But what we can do, fortunately, is we can bargain our Torch the Tower, and even if they double spelled, then they wouldn't have had enough to get the Planisphere up. So worked out well for us. We've been the land. I mean, there's no no reason to want to keep that. And both of us kind of have a good chunk of removal here, pretty good suite of it. So I think we just hardcast Story. I mean, there's literally nothing else to do. And unfortunately, we draw a bunch of lands, but we can bin the Spirebluff Canals, get the Thundering Falls in, and hopefully be in a decent spot. I actually really like the Tiger's Hill with the Winter Night Stories, because it basically is plus 2 mana as far as the Winter Night Stories goes. I like it a lot. I think that's kind of the biggest synergy that I should say that I found so far. So I think, I mean, honestly, we could Duelist of the Mind as well for Winter Night Stories. It is unfortunately at risk of Torch the Tower, but it would let us get this in a little bit sooner to be a little bit more aggressive. But I don't hate getting in the Tiger Seal, giving us a few more options. We can always slap in the Duelist if we find our Frostcliff Siege, and just kind of threaten a win right then and there with Duelist of the Mind and potential FOMO. So I think probably our best choice is just the Tiger Seal, get our Winter Night Stories draws, get us some cards back, use our mana efficiently, and I think we're gonna bin these. We're gonna bin these lands. I think that's the right call. Tiger Seal's untapped, and we unfortunately this is a second, but we can drop the Duelist of the Mind as well. That's I guess I should have seen that. That's probably a calculatable line, not super challenging. I think more experience in the deck, that's definitely more known, but definitely calculatable even without having played the deck before. So very, very nice interaction. Getting rid of the Thunder Trap Trainer, they take some turns off as well, which is really beneficial for us. We have, we can get in 6 damage at least with the Winter, or 7 damage with the Winter Night Stories, potential for more as well. So really we'll just see. I mean, I'm actually really okay with that. That's potential really good card advantage for them, that we get to basically make them waste. I think I would like to Winter Night Stories first. I would like to keep both of these. These are really strong, especially with the potential for Frostcliff Siege. I think I will bin the Tiger Seal. I think I would like to have that value. And we can just Winter Night Stories again. Is actually definitely not a bad option, but I do also really like trying to get this FOMO in. Maybe we just slap in the Duelist of the Mind. Try and keep our pieces alive as long as possible. We actually do get to Winter Night Stories again. Again, calculatable lines, I feel like a lot easier once I have experience. Like, it'll be kind of second nature, but definitely lines I feel like I should be calculating. I think we'll discard these. I don't really like, the lands are less valuable now that we're up to 6 mana. Getting the Winter Night Engrave is great, especially with the Tiger Shield, trying to get this Duelist of the Mind to be really strong. So, tentatively, I'm okay with sending that land away. Let's see, but yeah, again, calculatable lines. I feel like something definitely I should be thinking of more. Definitely not thinking as in depth. It's been, definitely can tell I've taken about a month off of Magic. You know, did that one draft, but outside of that, I kind of haven't touched it since the end of October. So, really nice surrender. Unfortunately, we don't get to finish out that game, but I feel like this is a good game to see. I think it shows kind of the importance of learning your deck, right? I mean, these are lines that are calculatable. If you think about it, if you know, you're playing chess, right? You can figure out that that's what you can do. But things like that are like, once you learn the deck, they're just gonna be second nature. They're just gonna be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And so I think what's really important for a lot of people, myself included, is like, play your deck. I mean, pick one deck, play it. You know, if you want to net deck the best deck, absolutely. If you want to homebrew something, absolutely. But something that you have experience with, something that you can just know, here's what I can do in this situation, and that lets you save a lot of that mental energy for what the right play is rather than what the plays are, I think is a good way of putting that. But we'll see you guys in the next game. Okay, here we are. We're getting into the last game we need, hopefully, fingers crossed, for rank up into silver. Not the, you know, greatest achievement on this journey, but it is a start, something big. So we'll show you guys a game, see what we're able to put together here. It's a keepable hand. I mean, we have things to do. We have interaction. Like, this is good against a decent amount of decks. I think the Towards the Towers are really good against basically every deck that's not control. I really do, and I think that it's pretty easy. We can get in the Mako, and then we can just slap down a Towards the Tower, and we can build up for Storm Chasers. Obviously, that's not super important because we don't have great cards in the graveyard right now. But depending on what we're playing against, potentially when we build up to the 6 mana, if we're getting really flooded, we're not getting great cards. So, really, we'll see what we're able to do. Again, we just another great Towards the Tower target. Unironically, actually something I would be somewhat reasonably happy to Winter Stories and just Towards the Tower later. I think that Winter Stories does get these both to be big enough to trade with Phineas. So I actually like the idea of Winter Stories because in turn 4 we can talent to grab Winter Stories back if we desperately need to. But I think we send away the basics. We keep up Torch. Unfortunately, obviously we're drawing a lot of lands, but Thundering Falls is Surveil land. We have Storm Chasers to get back Winter Knight if we need to cast it for cheaper. If not, we can just cast it from the graveyard. You can always tap down the Mako potentially and then like Towards the Tower or something. The ward is a little bit more unfortunate. You know, life linking Phineas is a little bit more than a little bit scary, actually. But I don't know if it's necessarily worth paying the ward cost. I mean, it does give us a Mako back. We're basically paying 2 mana for the Mako. Deal with the Archer, deals with their lifelinker. So tentatively, I think that's something that I'm okay with. I think we can. Yeah, I think we can just go ahead. We can just pay the ward cost, and then we can drop a Surveil land. Let's just get somewhat reasonable use of our mana, a good spot for the tap land to come in. And I think actually is a decent way to clear some. We're sending that land away. We don't want another land. I don't hate that. I don't hate paying the ward cost there. Generally, the Shelter by Ghost, the ward cost is actually really nice. I think it's one of the best parts of the card. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not really sure. I actually don't know what deck we're really playing against here, truly. But let's see. We have Land Sorcerer, Instant Engrave. Would love to have FOMO and Duelist of the Mind come out together. So I think actually what I'll probably do is... What I can do, I can try and FOMO, drop Duelist, pray we find a land, and then, but Duelist is only 2. So probably what we do is we just, we probably just FOMO away. We honestly probably FOMO away the Duelist. It gets FOMO active, which is a really big threat, and then we can recast Winter Night Stories to get our creatures a little bit bigger. I think that's probably our best choice here. Hopefully we find a sorcery here to discard, and I think probably we just send away the lands. We can cast Winter Night next turn, and we actually bluff, which is nice. We bluff not having FOMO active. I think I want to keep the Otter. When we get our double combat, that might be a decent... Obviously, we're probably going to try and target the Mako, but if they get rid of the Mako, it's a decent FOMO untapped target. See, I actually have never seen this card before. Very cool art, though. Giving food token, and then all the animals get +1/+1. Okay, that's reasonable, I think. To grab the Mako again, slightly unfortunate. But we'll see. I mean, this does potentially let us get in with a really big... Yeah, this does let us get in for a really big swing. We'll see they're at 14, which is a little bit scary to try and get through. But we'll Winter Night Stories. Let's see if we find something useful. No, we're going to go ahead. We are going to discard the... I think we discard the lands, and we try and get Frostcliff Siege in. We want to go ahead and do Teamer. And that's going to let both of these guys go in for... Yeah, it's going to let both of these guys get in for a decent amount. Actually, let's just put some pressure on. And yeah, we'll FOMO to untap because it's a better blocker. But, you know, they can't block with this just to protect their life. Puts them to 7, they're at 10 with the life gain, which is totally, like, unironically, totally achievable. And we probably keep it FOMO for a blocker. I think 10 is doable with the Quantum Riddler. And so we'll definitely see, where to go on that front. They're getting a little bit of a wider board going, but again, nothing that I'm unbelievably terrified about. With the trample and the haste, actually, we have some really good potential. We can get this Duelist of the Mind, actually, potentially to win here. Another example of, like, learn your deck, right? I don't actually know what the math is here and what exactly we need to do, so what the right choice is. Okay, I think I'm pretty confident we can just warp in another Riddler, and that should be more than enough. I mean, we'll get 3 draws, and then we just swing in with these guys, have the FOMO bring up a Riddler again, and just, with the trample, I think this is so much. The Frost Cliff Siege is a really nice one of in the deck. I mean, enables stuff like this to happen, is just get over these boards once we get our Duelist, Quantum Riddler, once we get all our card draw synergies up. So, really nice game. I think shows off the deck very well. But yeah, another example is, like, learn your decks, right? Like, it's if I've played this deck a dozen times, it's really easy to look at it and see, oh, I can win here, right? And so it's nice to be able to figure that out, or at least gamble a little bit, but I shouldn't have to risk. I shouldn't have to, I don't want to sit for 10 minutes thinking about it, and I don't want to risk not doing it. So, great rank up into silver, and we'll see you guys in the next something. Here we're on the draw for a game with a hand I actually really like. Like, we don't have the most interaction in the world, but it's a really nice curve of tap land into Duelist of the Mind and our Winter Night Stories, which I really, really like. I think then Duelist of the Mind is it's a big creature at turn 3, get something in. So I like this hand tentatively. We'll see how it does against some kind of green base. Commune with Beavers, I'm guessing it's either mono green or it's the Simic Aura board, but this might be the landfall deck that we were playing for our last challenge, so we'll definitely see. Here, I think it's the same plan of we just want to drop our Duelist of the Mind. Assuming it's that, they don't really have any interaction for it, and so we just Winter Night Stories, poke in for good damage, have a decent blocker. We keep Torch the Tower up for a Mossborn Hydra or something more impactful than the little Chocobo. So, that's another thing too, is, like, Bolting the Bird is always good, but holding up Torch for, especially when you know the opposing deck, knowing the meta is always nice. Having Torch up to deal with this Chocobo is phenomenal. And we can draw, and we probably don't need the 3rd Boomerang Basics. It's a little bit of too much redundancy. Obviously, redundancy is a good thing on your decks. Generally, you want redundancy if you can have it, but it's not the end of the world if not. So we'll just warp in the Riddler, get some draw. I mean, they don't have a win the game threat right now. We can peek out for a little bit of damage. We still have a Torch the Tower to hopefully deal with a Mossborn. The only way that it sucks is if they then play a tap land, like a fetch land would be really unfortunate, but we can still just Torch the Tower of the Hydra, get another draw for our Duelist, and is a really nice way to make use of our interaction, especially against a combo deck like this. I think, yeah, there's merit to just, bolt the bird, as it were, like kill some of the early things, and obviously killing the mana dork is important, but I think it's good to try and get value out of the cards that you can. Obviously, being able to Torch the Hydra and we'll get rid of our Spiral. Now we don't need that land, but getting rid of the Hydra and the Traveling Chocobo are really, really nice. And again, this Duelist of the Mind is just putting in great work for us. I think another thing to think about here is definitely the knowing the meta, right? Knowing what decks exist, knowing what they have, what is available to them, and like unironically being able to piece together what deck they have, from a land drop is really important. And obviously it's not super consistent. You're not going to do it every time, but it's not like a lot of other games where I feel like making that guess is really risky. I feel like with Magic it's important. Sorry, my hair is, I don't know what's happening right now. It's like in my face, but whatever. It's important to, I think, have that knowledge and make plays based off of it. You know, wanting to hold up, you know, being able to get this Duelist of Mine in has got us some great damage so far, and given us a lot of opportunities to answer what they have. Unfortunately, this Mothborn Hydra is a little bit terrifying, and I genuinely do not know if I have an answer for it, outside of maybe dropping the Riddler just for a 6 damage blocker, which I really don't love, but I think maybe we can Winter Night Stories into some kind of interaction. Not really, unfortunately. We probably don't need these extra... We could probably cut... Let's see, what do we have? We have instant sorcery land, so we can get an enchantment, and this land in, and then FOMO is active, which is nice. And here, the Hydra's a little bit scary. If they have another fetch land, we probably are at a loss in this game, but I think it's worth... We can drop this FOMO, and if they only have a single land, we can potentially threaten a win here with the FOMO and Duelist of the Mind. We have Winter Night Stories, of course, to hopefully help Duelist of the Mind get big if we need to chump block the Chocobo with the FOMO. So we may or may not win this game. This could be a loss, but I feel like we have given ourselves, to an extent, the best opportunities to win. And sometimes, you know, that's just how the variance works. I don't know what they could be flashing in here. I don't know what they have at this instant speed to be flashing in, but I think I'm willing. No, I suppose they can. What they could do, they could do their World Souls Rage for 3, and that could just kill me if I'd taken all that damage. So it's not the greatest feeling in the world, but I think sacking the FOMO is the right choice there, because I do have enough mana to World Souls for 3. Also potentially likely that if they are not using, how do we say, we actually have an out to win here. If Winter Night finds us another Winter Night Stories or another big draw piece, we have potential here, but unfortunately it seems like we don't have quite enough. We could... Actually, no, what we can do, we can drop an island, and what's really nice is we can drop this Duelist of the Mind, and then we can use it to harmonize the Winter Night Stories to give us that 3 extra damage we need, which is an awesome, like, barely able to get that damage out, which is really nice. You know, knowing damage cutoffs is good. But yeah, I mean, I think important thing from the game is just, you know, if you can make a call, if you can make a judgment call based on even the first land, even the first card, is generally a good idea to at least attempt. It may change your game plan. You know, we may have not won that game if we made a different call there, and maybe, you know, killing the Chocobo was never the right choice. Maybe playing the 2-drop was always the right choice, but still, it's a lot easier to make decisions if you know what you're up against, and being able to do that consistently early is good. And so learning kind of the land base of decks is honestly something I'd really recommend, is like, you can see just off a land drop, oh, this is probably this deck, this is what we're going to be going against. Okay, here we're a little bit late. We ended up... I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to include this game or not, but seeing the Boros way, I actually thought we were going to be against control. So potentially could be an example of making misplays or not doing the right things. But again, kind of get a chance to show off the Duelist of the Mind Winter Night Stories. It's really nice. This is a awesome, like, beautiful card. I did not know this card existed until right now, but this is an awesome card to see. Very, very strong. Actually looks like we're against a weapons manufacturing deck, which is really nice. This may just be a blowout win if they're missing the land drops, and we're just gonna, you know, draw cards and get advantage, and everything's gonna be happy. But you know, we'll see where we're going. I think I'm going to keep the stuff. We don't really need Torch the Tower, and Spiral of Canal is not really useful right now. A really nice thing you can do with the Winter Night, and I'm hopefully gonna be able to show that, but you can choose to not discard a creature and then discard a creature anyway if you want a second discard. That That was really important in Jeskai Oculus. You know, sometimes you wanted to get your Oculus in the graveyard, but you also wanted a land for FOMO. You wanted something else for the Marauding Mako. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, that's at least a possibility. Here, I actually like the idea of just kind of bouncing the Storm Chaser's talent a few times. The weapons manufacturing is a lot of 1-for-1 removal, and so just getting... Obviously, it's nice card draw, right? It's letting these act as cantrips while giving us some bounce. I'm actually really curious if Esper Bounce is viable again with Boomerang basics. But, excuse me, I think it's important to try and adapt your game plan, right? Like we were talking about last game, is adapt your game plan into what you're playing. We know that this deck it's not board wipe heavy. It's very, I'm going to sack these munitions and, you know, kill your creatures one at a time. A lot of 1-for-1 removal, and yeah, you know, they can get value like with their Dusk Rose, but trying to get a wider board it's a lot nicer, gives us a lot more resiliency against that. I mean, we can Storm Chasers boom again, but I think I'd like to get the Tiger Shield and the Duelist in. It's nice to have the, how do we say, the 3 mana cards, right? Like as simple as just the 3 toughness cards, just to get out of munitions range. I think Storm Chasers is debatably a little bit better there, but I want Boomerang basics for the chance of getting the land. I think I'd rather have the second otter here than the draw, but that's a little bit unfortunate. I actually didn't know that this was running Starcage, because it does kind of rip their own cards a lot, but tentatively I don't hate that for us. I mean, we get the Duelist of the Mind back, which is really nice. I'm trying to see, it doesn't look like we can Quantum Riddler our way out of anything, so it might be worth just Storm Chasers talenting, but I don't think we can get double draw off Quantum Riddler is what I'm trying to say there. But actually really nice, we can get a FOMO, we can get Tiger Shield, and we can get our Delirium active, because we had instant length sorcery, get that enchantment in the graveyard, and now actually what we can do is what's a little bit better than that Tiger Shield, again, something to think about, is the Quantum Riddler is really nice, is it pays for Winter Night Stories. Is an awesome option. I think we just get rid of the... No, I think we get rid of talent and a land here. I think the creatures are something we probably want to keep around. And we're threatening win next turn. They're not a guarantee, right? They don't know the cards in our hand, but we are threatening the potential of a win. With something Winter Night Stories. Night Battlefront's interesting. I guess that makes sense for this to be in this. Perilous Snare, sure, and Caretaker's Talent, both are good. Caretakers and the weapon sense is actually really nice. It's a nice synergy for them. So I think what we're looking for here is, I mean, realistically, what we're looking for is the Winter Night Stories. That's like the way we win the game right now. Not the Winter Night Stories, sorry, Frostcliff Siege. I'm speaking nonsense this game. But I think the idea is still the same of we want to... I think we can send a Riddler down. Yeah, I think we want to try and get ourselves the opportunity to win sooner rather than later. Put this FOMO out. We are threatening, again, one more win. Like, the shorter we can make the clock, the better. And so we are going to swing with this FOMO, maybe, so they have to answer both of these if they want to not be dead, because obviously each one individually, and we have the Brewing Furnace to actually deal with a blocker as well, so potentially we're in a decent spot. I know this deck does have the ability to go pseudo-infinite. I don't know how much mana it needs. There's a guy at my locals I haven't gone in a very long time, but right when, let's say when Edge of Eternity's dropped, he played this, and he's a phenomenal player. But he went infinite on me on like turn 5, I think. And so in theory, this is doable. I don't actually remember the combo. It's been like a month and a half, but I know this deck is capable of it. So something to keep an eye out for, something to consider as a possibility. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see what they're able to put together. I mean, realistically, there's not a lot they can do now. I think the torch it's nice for them, but I don't think it wins them the game. Tap lane is good to see, and then the perilous snare. I really don't hate this. I really don't hate this for us at all. Obviously, they have a little bit of life back now, but I think there are definitely ways for us to win this. I think probably Tiger Seal and Winterite Stories, because again, if we can find the Frostcliff Siege, we just win. So that's probably what we're looking for right now, is just trying to be a little bit greedy and find that. I think we're getting rid of the interaction pieces because we don't need them that much. And unfortunately, I just don't think we're gonna find it with the mana we need in time. So we don't have a way to win this turn, but again, it's kind of the same thing as we're setting up to win the next turn, trying to give ourselves the best opportunity to win the game as fast as we can. It's unfortunate they've kind of been able to put us off, and this would be a unfortunate loss, and I think actually maybe it's not the right choices, right? Maybe we need to change our game plan. Maybe we're not making the right choices. I think maybe the past couple turns of this were not the right decision. I feel like we've given them, ironically, I think trying to kill them as fast as possible is maybe giving them more time than they should have to stabilize. I think that potentially there's merit to taking a turn off so that we can guarantee win. So like say, hey, we're not going to threaten this win right now, but we're going to say, next turn I'm going to win, and kind of build that. And I don't know what line specifically we had available to us for that, but maybe hard casting a Quantum Riddler, something like that, to give us a little bit of a higher percentage to win the following turn rather than try and win the turn after next rather than just win next turn, I suppose. I think maybe it's the right choice. I also think there's some merit to saying doing this forces them to use removal, right? So they're not really stabilizing, they're just living, and eventually they run out of gas because we have the more card draw. And so I think really, I do honestly think it could really go either way. I feel like both are decent options. I don't know myself which is the correct situation. Maybe it's more situational than I'm really giving it credit for. So yeah, I don't know what the best choice is here. I mean, I guess, again, we're still just trying to pray we draw for Frostcliff Siege. I mean, it wins us the game on the spot. It's lucky, but it's a really nice draw. Maybe we do hardcast a Riddler. That's kind of hard for them to answer without another Perilous Snare. It gets away from Star Cage. It's not really killable with the weapons manufacturing. It's a flyer, which is nice. It gets over a blocker. So maybe hardcasting Riddler was good. That might have been a play that should have been done sooner. I think it's definitely a possibility that that's something that we should have done a couple turns ago. I think it's a better play. Yeah, still learning the deck. Lots of things, like that's what I love about Magic. You know, it's so hard to be a perfect player. And I think, like, I come from Yu-Gi-Oh! I was never that good at Yu-Gi-Oh! We'll be honest. I kind of sucked at it. But I think kind of the difference with Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more challenging to play just because there's so much more calculation and so much more combo lines and what you're trying to figure out. But I think that with Magic is like there's so many more unknowns, right? Like you don't know how the cards are going to interact with each other, and so it's easier to calculate, so it's easier to make like thoughts, but it's a lot harder to figure out what is the right choice because it's not quite as mathematical. I don't know if that makes sense as into what I'm saying, but I actually wasn't paying attention to what just happened, and okay, I was like, where did all their artifacts go? It's just hidden because Arena's interface, which is fine. I thought I just missed out on something super important there. But no, I love Magic. I do enjoy getting better at it, but it's tough. It's tough to like logic your way into the right call sometimes. Sometimes it feels like you need to kind of have external sources. You know, I used to watch a lot of stuff by Reduke online coaching, things like that. Just try and improve, get better. You know, I love the game. I like card games, I like strategy. That's what the channel's about, you know? So this game hopefully should be a win for us. I think they're just about out of gas. I think we can maybe get our Mako to win. Well, I guess it really depends what we draw. But the Roaring Furnace can kill the... the Roaring Furnace can kill the Golem. We potentially, definitely... we could just uptick Storm Chasers to kill the Rabbit. We could grab something from the graveyard, and then... but we do still need one more discard to make this Mako win. So probably the easiest way is we Boomerang Basics back the Furnace. Torch the Tower is nice. Yeah, we don't really have a way to win. We can get them to 1. So I think we draw. We try and greed for a win here. They have a lot under their belt. That's definitely a little bit intimidating. So kind of wish we had one more mana here. Be really nice. We could FOMO for the discard and then Torch the Tower to get rid of the Rabbit. But unfortunately we don't have that opportunity, and I think probably the right choice is... probably we just show what's known, right? We probably just Roaring Furnace the Rabbit. At least gets it back in. We can pay 5 for the Steaming Sauna at a later date. I don't love this. I don't know if that was the right choice. I feel like maybe there was a line there that got us that 3rd damage, but again, and a lot of it too is like at any point here we could have top decked the card that wins us the game. And so obviously it's risky sometimes making these plays, but if you're in a long tournament, you know, you're playing, especially in a grind like this, right, where, you know, I'm going to be playing dozens of games, it's going to happen eventually. Like one of the times I'm going to get the lucky top deck that's going to win me the game. And I think that that's worth playing for more often than not, especially if you're planning to play. Like if you're worried about the one game, don't. Obviously, like you want to just give yourself the best chance to win that game. But over a long run, try and improve the win rate as much as you can. I feel like there is merit to praying for the lucky top deck sometimes. And, you know, yeah, it's a 1-minute deck, so the Frostclip Siege is a little bit iffy on whether we should play for that or not. But I think that play specifically is... there was definitely cards that we could have used that would have won us that game faster. So we will definitely... we'll see if we can find something to give us a win here. I mean, at some point, they've got to run out of gas. All right, I mean, they're not going to be available forever. I think probably we just Steaming Sauna. I think this kind of ties into the... like, there's a lot of options. Like they have done amazing at stabilizing. I mean, they have just kill spell, kill spell, kill spell, kill spell. I have 4 or 5 turns in a row, right? I mean, unironically, very, very, very impressed with how they've been able to perform here. So we'll see what we're able to do. Yeah, I think this is one of those games that there's definitely maybe slight, like, I think especially if we lose this game, I'll definitely keep this in. I actually don't think I've kept a loss yet, but I think it's to be a really good loss to learn from. Is like, they're at 1 HP, right? There's probably a lot of things we could have done to eke out 1 more damage. A lot of slight, you know, plays, and so while the big plays, the big mistakes are going to be the biggest jump in your win rate, but if you want to go from, you know, 54 to 55, you know, winning games like these. And so definitely something to keep in, even for myself to look at, to go back. That's another big thing. It's going back and reviewing your games, especially if you have a friend to look at them with you, give you a second perspective. I think is absolutely phenomenal. I think it is a great tool, a great resource, and really I think is the biggest thing that helped me improve. Is when I was playing Moto, I would review all my tournaments. You know, I'd play a league. You know, if I went 5-0 or if I went 0-5, I'd review them and look back like, hey, what did I do wrong here? And it got me a lot better. You know, I started off and most leagues I'd go 1-4 or 2-3, and you know, right when I stopped playing, I mean, I haven't played much Moto since. It's been a lot of just Arena. It's a lot cheaper, a lot more free to play. I wasn't quite good enough to make money from Moto, but at some point I'd like to be. But, you know, getting better, closer to, you know, 3-2 was a bad day. You know, I was going 4-1, 5-0 sometimes, and like 3-2 was the typical rather than a 1-4, you know. And so, lots of things to improve. You know, I make no claim that I'm the greatest player of all time. We play Duels of the Mind here just to scout what interaction they have. They obviously have instant speed interaction. I just don't know exactly what it is, but we can play this. They don't have a counterspell in theory. It's like I'm pretty sure there's no not blue counterspells in standard right now. But always trying to get better. That's one thing I can preach, even being, you know, I may not be the greatest player ever, but I try my best to learn and be the best player I can. I think that's really the important thing. It's just trying to learn, trying to get better, be a better Magic player. Let's hope this goes through. I mean, I really have not much to say outside of that. Is hope. I mean, the Duels of the Mind, obviously they have to answer that. Really depends what they have able to them with the trample. They can't just chump block with the rabbits, which is really nice. But I don't actually think they can pay for... Oh, they do. I am blind. So they can kill the Duelist, which is unfortunate for us. They can block the Mako with the Golem. And that's actually dead. That's something that we knew. That's something we knew we could have done. And so it's a little bit unfortunate that's how that's turned out. But, you know, it is what it is. And life does, in fact, go on. But really unfortunate if they stabilize here. Very disappointing game. It'd be really frustrating, I think, if that does end up being the case, but, you know, we'll see what we can do. I mean, we've got the Quantum Riddler. It's going to be really hard for them to kill, but it's actually decently likely they might be able to pull off a win here. They've got 9, so, yeah, actually all they need to do is just sack 2 munitions, and they've got a win. And so this is an unfortunate loss, but I think definitely one to pay attention to. Something to learn from, and I think that's the important thing. Is sometimes the losses can be even more valuable than the wins. Obviously, this is the longest game we've had. I think it's like a 20-minute game, so a little bit of an unfortunate end to the video, right? I may play some more later tonight, but tentatively, you know, end of the video. But I think it's important to learn from. You know, you can be in Silver Tier 3. Playing against a Tier 3 deck with your Tier 1 meta, and if you misplay, you can lose. I think absolutely that's a winnable game. There's so many opportunities to have made different plays, and so I think for me, being able to go back and look at that is great, and I think it's a good opportunity for you guys to see and be like, hey, this is what AJ did wrong, this is what AJ did stupid, and this is what I did right. And so maybe it wasn't a winnable game, but I think there's definitely different paths we could have taken. We may see you guys in another game. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow.